Xsplit Vcam, or up there, is one of my favourite applications. I use it in most of the broadcasts that I do on BeLive because of this very simple reason, and I'll show you why. Because if I cancel that and I go to my original background, this is where I broadcast from. As you can see, it's sort of cluttered and it's got lights on the side which I need to turn around, and you can see my bookshelf, you can see everything. So a virtual camera like XSplit allows you to change your background to anything you like just by one click. So I'm going to show you how this works, and in order to do that I need to share my screen. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share it with Xsplit Vcam. Okay, so you can now, if I take that off, say show in stream, you can see Xsplit Vcam at the side of me. And I'm going to do one extra change. I'm going to change how the screen is laid out by going to the classic theme, applying that so you can see it's both widescreen, so you can see everything that I can see. Why use Xsplit Vcam? Well, I've given you one reason, basically because there's clutter behind me. The second reason is that you can have any background that you like. And let's just go through. And I am running Xsplit Vcam live now. I'm going to move the window over there and there. And if I go and I click down to another photograph, then the background changes to a London bus. Background changes to Penguin countdown timer. And you can see that all I'm doing is changing the background. You can also use your own photographs. This is one that I took 2 weeks ago when we went for a walk in Devizes, and it's just so simple to actually do this. You go to Xsplit Vcam, and I'll give you the link later, but basically you download the software, and then the first thing you do is to actually tell it which camera to use. Now I could have my camera on my desktop in a second. Okay, so that's my desktop camera, and you can tell because I'm not looking at the screen. So that's my desktop camera. Or I can have my Logitech Brio, and that will change in a second. Now Logitech Brio is the one I use 99% of the time. So you select your camera, and there are several cameras to choose from, but the main two that I use are the ones that I've just shown you, the Xsplit Brio, the Brio, and those two. Now, one thing you do need to do, and I'm going to do this live, so I may or may not come back in a minute, but I'm going to show you how to do this. Whenever you change the picture, so that you change your lighting as well, you must recalibrate. And to recalibrate, you click there and you click help and you click calibrate. Now I'm going to disappear, but I will be back, but I'm going to carry on talking. So what it's doing now is Xsplit Vcam is determining the best settings to actually give you the best picture. Simple as that. And it goes away and it checks what hardware you're using, and it checks which software is actually running, and it works out the best way to actually show you on screen. I try to remember to calibrate before each broadcast. That takes account of the lighting, and it means that when I do go live using the software, I've got the best picture going out as possible. This is one up on using your camera. You can actually use a virtual camera which BeLive recognizes, and using that you can then go out and you can broadcast to the world. So calibration, it's done the hardware tests, it's found my camera, and calibration allows us to improve the performance for Vcam. Vcam will run hardware tests, do it before every broadcast. I'll press continue and I should be back in a second. You'll see that there's a slight delay to it coming back. onto BeLive. Where do you get your backgrounds from? Well, that's a good question, and I'm going to bring up Xsplit Vcam again and say that you can add your backgrounds. This one behind me is a photograph that I took, so you can upload images. So you go there, you go media files, and you actually upload an image. I'm going to take one at random, and it will change to a beautiful scene behind me. Okay, now some scenes work and some scenes don't. I'll show you that you've got to actually check that things are going to work, because some scenes don't. Now you notice that behind me, and I'm going to bring the software up again, behind me I have a virtual camera background, green screen. That is a physical green screen, about $60. I can move it about. The other thing I have, as you've seen to the side of me, is I have two soft lights. This is the difference between having a picture that everybody says, well, oh, what are you doing with that? I'd rather see you, because it's not a good setup. It's frayed at the edges, the hand's not showing properly. Why are you using green screen? If you've got a green screen behind you and the soft light switched on, then you're going to get a perfect background that everybody can appreciate, because what you don't want is for your background to actually turn people off. And you'll notice that I can put my hands up and they're virtually, and if I put the lighting on, they'll be perfect, I promise you. So you can choose a background from something saved on your desktop, and it can be either something you've done or it can be something that somebody else has done. Now let's go to adding a background again, and this time I'm going to add something from Unsplash. Now Unsplash.com is a free resource that we can use to actually download images, and it has a search function. So I'm going to put into there racing as a topic, and it will come up with images of racing, and I can pick that one which I like. There you are. So I've got Formula 1 cars behind me now. I could equally well have Formula 1 grandstand. Okay, and those are all downloaded quickly. So Unsplash is the second place that you can actually get photos. The other thing you can do, because I'm going to go out of Unsplash for a moment. Unsplash is a great resource. If you do take a photograph from Unsplash, then please do tweet it out so that this recognition is given to people who deserve that recognition. The next place you can actually add a background from is from a web page. Now for a web page you just need the URL, and here's one I prepared earlier which I'm going to copy, and I'm going to go over to BeLive, and I'm going to bring in the link and press add. And my background has now changed to something black. If I go over, does that make any difference? That's it. I've now got the Guardian behind me. It's the Guardian sports page. So I can share a web page. I could talk about it, and you can see because of the white background you've got a problem. My hair is, let's switch that off and go back to where we were. So you can share web pages. Okay, and the final thing in terms of adding a background is that you can use a YouTube video. Now I found a YouTube video earlier of the place that I live, which is Devizes in Wiltshire in England, and I'm just copying the link now into there, and I'm going to add that, and this, fingers crossed on this, I'm going to look at the video and press play in a second, It's a bit slow loading because I'm doing everything at once. So let's let that load for a second. And I'm just waiting, and it's taking its time. Okay, what I'm going to do is this. Right, so now we've got the video playing behind me. It's coming direct from YouTube into Xsplit Vcam, and it just adds a certain something. You can actually talk about the video as it's playing. Obviously you're appearing in the middle of it, you have to choose which video is best, but you can actually play a video in the background. This is where I live, that's the Crammer, and the traffic going on behind me. Out into the fields, I live in the countryside. So let's stop that for a moment and switch back to the normal background. And I'm going to turn the video off. I'm going to shut down the sports page, and we're back to me. So it's a very powerful piece of software, and it's always on offer. You can pick it up for anything from $20 to $40 depending on the time of year or whether there is actually an offer on. So this is Xsplit Vcam. All I can say is it simply works. The quality is stunning. They do work on it. There's a new release every month. It works out the box. All you need to do is create your account, log in, select your background. As we can see, if I go down the bottom here, Xsplit Vcam is one of the cameras that BeLive recognizes, so you can bring it straight into BeLive. You don't need to make any changes to BeLive at all. And you can have fun with it. And you can have endless pictures. It stores 20 locally. So I can scroll through the 20 pictures that it stores, but you can add pictures whilst you're live, and you can change the background within seconds. And even change it to an advert if you like, or not. Okay, so there you have it, Xsplit Vcam. If you're on Windows, then Xsplit Vcam is the best software available, in my opinion. If you're on a Mac, then you can use eCam, E-C-A-M-M, and that will give you the same facilities. My good friend Brigitte uses that. She's on a Mac and she uses eCam during our broadcasts. If you've got any questions, then please do ask. But for the moment, this is me signing off and saying I will see you again in the next lecture. Thank you for watching. I'm going to try and find the button, and when I find the button, I'm going to press stop. This has been Xsplit Vcam.